No, you're fine. We just need to shut that door, I think. I think it's echoing with the TV. Hey, everybody, welcome to 4 Deep Sports Talk. I'm Dominic Damiano, joined by Joe Dez. The sports master himself, Justin Forever. He gave me a funny look. Catherine Conley, a.k.a. KC, is on the board tonight. Luce Cabral is firing up the live stream and the record process. And my back is killing me, so I apologize if I stop for a second to reposition myself. But I am going to the Bruins game tonight. I am psyched about that.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Where are they playing at?
They're playing the Blue Jackets.
Oh, nice. It's going to be a good game.
So for those people that saw a lot of, we actually do pretty good on our Facebook posts and our Twitter posts. I guess it kind of depends on who we have on. So I don't know if you guys saw any of the posts on Twitter, on Facebook. So you probably did, and then I probably emailed. I don't even know why I'm even saying that. But anyway, JJ Donalo I met and over at the Central Atlantic Collegiate Conference. So about 10 years ago. Everyone knows when I used to do, well, actually, longer than that, 15 years before I met you guys, I used to hand deliver all these DVDs, do all the work over at Bridgewater Access TV. And Bridgewater got hired by the CACC to cover their regional tournament. So we'd go down with the production truck, and J.J. Donalo, he was I think he was the athletic director and the coach over at Felician. And this is all Division II boys and girls basketball. Does that thing turn? Uh-oh. She's going to get in trouble. But anyway, he's calling it. Then Dan Mara, the commissioner, he should be calling in. He should be calling in as well. So hopefully, we have to turn up the other mics too. You have to turn up. No, you're perfect. You are absolutely perfect.
I think we're all good actually because these are the two mics.
And then just got to watch that. I'm sorry. I'm just self-conscious. I apologize.
No,
I'm
you're all
sorry.
good, though.
But anyway, they're going to call in, and everyone used to ask me, so where are you going? I don't know if you guys remember. I'm going to take off for a week to go down there. I'd be at either Philadelphia University, which is now Jefferson, U Science, which is actually going away. But these are all very good division, and their conference covers Connecticut, Northern New York, Eastern Philadelphia, down to Delaware, and I thought it'd be pretty cool because it's funny. I looked through so my first year, I'm looking through the book on where these kids are from. There are a couple of kids from Mass, and I kept on saying to myself, there are so many kids up here that maybe are just blindsided with BC and Stonehill that don't know there's another school that's basically 4 hours away that you could probably go to and still play, college basketball, or maybe grab a scholarship, because it's the same thing. I don't really, I don't know the exact wording how they separate Division I from Division II, but Division II does give scholarships. So I'm like, well, there's probably a lot of kids out there, and I thought this would be a good time for them to promote their conference, educate all of us, and maybe the right person at the right time will either not maybe listen to it now or listen to it later and say, hey, why don't I send a videotape to one of the local colleges out there, you know what I mean, that want to play basketball. They do, I think they do spring football. They do, they do all the sports. Yeah. I never knew they were there. You know what I mean?
I never knew that D2 really gave scholarships like that for a
Right.
while. It was big. I kind of didn't realize D3 didn't for a while was a problem. So when I interviewed some D3 kids, I kept saying they got scholarships, and after they're recording it, they have to look at me and say, we did not get scholarships at all. Yeah, you have to refilm that.
Yeah, so. Right. Yeah, it's crazy, and I didn't know. And I didn't know they're actually pretty close. So I guess So from what I understand, the college in Philadelphia called U Science is actually looks like a big barn. We did one of the last games before the pandemic. They were hosting. Up there we go. So we have a call. All right. So hit the button.
Oh, this one?
Yep. She is out of practice. Hi, you're first on 4 Deep Sports Talk. Hello.
Dominic.
Hey, JR. JR, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
Good to call. JR, I know we're both Guineas. I want to make sure I pronounce your last name right. It's Donalo?
Donalo, you got it.
See that? I got my vowels right. So just to let you know, first of all, welcome to 4 Deep Sports Talk here in southeastern Mass. And God knows I tripped in you. I think I've known you, over 5 years now, covering the CACC?
At least, absolutely.
Right. So JR is, and I hope Jeff Fowler told me the right thing. You were the coach and the AD over at Felician?
Well, I was both.
Yep.
I was the women's basketball coach, and I was the AD for a long time.
Yep.
I stopped coaching basketball about 14 years ago, and I stepped down as athletic director effective January 1st of this year. I'm in a new role at Felician. I am the Senior Athletic Development Officer, which is a nice way of saying I work in our advancement office. And I'm raising money for the university, for the athletic department, and I'm an ambassador for Felician and Felician Athletics.
Nice.
Also, I'm also the head coach of our golf team.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
That's what you call multiple hats.
I've always worn a lot of hats, Dominic.
Right. So just to let you know, we have Justin Ferreira, a.k.a. the Sportsmaster. One of my old interns that still stayed on board, Luce Cabral. She's been with me for over 5 years.
There.
I don't know if you heard it. Then we have a high school intern. We have Joe Dez is his podcast name. He goes to a local Catholic school, Bishop Fan. And on the board is Catherine Conley, a.k.a. KC. So if anyone knows about me taking off, going to do those tournaments, it's definitely Lucy, because she'd ask me every time about the beginning of March, where you going now? I said, I'm going with Jeff. We're going to go do college basketball. And,
there you go.
And I'd tell her the colleges, and she would say to me, I have no idea. I've never heard of that name. But, so, you know what I mean? So what we're going to do is we'll jump around. Of course, the guys will introduce themselves, but if you can just give us, my first question, if you just give us an idea of the colleges in that conference.
Sure. The conference is the Central Atlantic Collegiate Conference. Schools as far north as Connecticut, far south as Delaware. We are right now a 13-member conference, and we will be losing one at the end of this academic year, and we will be gaining one. We will be losing the University of Sciences in Philadelphia, but we will be gaining the University of Bridgeport in Connecticut. So we will be, again, a 13-member institution conference.
Nice.
And so why are you, I'm sorry, this is Lucy Cabral. So why are you losing one?
So the University of Sciences is being kind of usurped, or they're merging with St. Joseph's College in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
It's actually the second time that one of our institutions has merged with another school. About 5 years ago, Philadelphia University was usurped by Thomas Jefferson University, which was a medical school, graduate school in Philadelphia, and they didn't go away. They became part of Philadelphia University Athletics, became Jefferson University Athletics, and stayed a member of our conference. That's not happening in this case. In this case, unfortunately, the University of Sciences is literally going away, and there will be no more athletics at that university, and all of those student athletes and coaches really are probably looking for new homes. A lot of the students, I think, are going to be afforded the opportunity to stay and earn their degrees with St. Joe's, but I'm assuming some of them may choose to leave. But nonetheless, as it relates to athletics in the CACC, we've lost a member institution. Now, fortunately, as I said, we're getting one back with the University of Bridgeport coming on board.
That's awesome.
That is great. It's funny because their coach is probably one of the best women's basketball coaches I've ever seen. She, I forget the girl's name. She won the conference player of the year. And every time I go down there to do the Final Four, so basically when I go down with Jeff Fowler and those guys, it's the Final Four. So it's the Final Four. We're there all weekend. 4 games on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. And that woman always has U Sciences smack dab in the middle in women's basketball. She's unbelievable. It broke my heart when I heard that she was leaving. I'm like, where's she going to go? Because, St. John's probably has a Division I women's basketball coach. Right. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. But
yeah, she might be able to get a promotion.
Her name is Jackie Hartzell. She's a terrific coach, and I mean, as it sits today on April 2nd, she doesn't have a job, and it's really amazing that that's the case. But you know what? I'm sure very, very soon some college or university will scoop her up quickly. She won't stay unemployed for very long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as March Madness finishes up, I imagine some teams are going to be looking for new
say.
coaches. Can't imagine she's going to get a little bit of an upgrade and join some new team or something.
Exactly.
Well, and I think that, she really cashed in at Sciences. She was a longtime high school coach in the Philadelphia area and was very successful, was a very good player herself, and, has done extremely well, as Dominic said, at our level in the CACC. And I agree. I think that, she'll get a job very soon.
All right, young man, I know you have a bunch of questions for her.
All right.
Just make sure you introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, IGR. This is Justin Ferrer, a.k.a. the Sportsmaster. And my question for you is, which accomplishments are you the most proud of?
Well, I have to tell you, I've been an athletic director for over 19 years. I think one of the first things that I was most proud of is seeing Felician make the transition from an NAIA school to an NCAA Division II school. I think that really validated our institution and somewhat put us on the map. There were many other schools in the CACC that did the same thing, and I think when we all made that move, that was a great thing for all of us. But I took a lot of pride in that as an athletic director. And most recently, and I'm sure none of you have been to our campus, but we just made a major renovation to our gymnasium and our building, and it's really a great small college building now. Beautiful foyer, new locker rooms, new concession stand, new fitness center. The fact that occurred on my watch as an athletic director, I'm also extremely proud of. As a coach, because I coached women's basketball for a long time, my biggest accomplishment is I could say in the 2001-2002 season, I coached the nation's leading scorer.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Men's, women's, it didn't matter the division, it didn't matter the gender. Tysel Bozeman was her name. She was a transfer that came to Felician from the University of Arizona. She is by far the greatest player I've ever coached, by far the greatest player who's ever played at Felician, probably male or female. And that year she averaged 37 points a game, and she scored over 1,000 points in one season.
That's impressive.
Oh, wow.
She was absolutely amazing that year.
That's like a working machine right there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. She played overseas in Finland and in Turkey. We were hoping the WNBA she was going to get drafted. It didn't happen. But those are probably the biggest things for me as it relates to being an AD and being a basketball coach.
I don't know how you would not want a woman that scores 37 points a game.
Yeah, I really don't know who we can find that's better than that. It's almost 40
I
a game.
don't get. I understand the speed of the WNBA. I'm being hypothetical, of course. Just my thoughts. WNBA. Ball. She still puts 37 points on the board.
No.
You unguard her, she's going to score. Basically, she's going to hit 3 out of 4 shots.
Yeah.
I don't get that. Well, what do I know about? That's why I'm not an NBA All-Star.
And she was clearly a Division I player. Like, she approached the game as a Division I player. And, I mean, our team, we were good. We weren't great. And we had a lot of girls that really saw what it meant to be that kind of player. Her work ethic was just, exemplary. And she was as good as a defender and as a rebounder. She got, steals and rebounds. She had more triple-doubles, in that season. I off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly how many there were, but, I mean, she was a triple-double machine. She scored 61 points in a game. That was her high that year. And unfortunately, we lost the game to Dominican in overtime, but she had 61 in the game. But she scored, 40 points or more probably 6 or 7 times that season. But one of her best lines, she had 48, 12, and 11 one night in a win against Green Mountain College. I mean, she was just, she was a freak of nature. She was tremendous.
I still don't understand why she was never picked up.
Yeah, how do you find a better prospect than that?
I don't
That's
know.
everything in the game that you'd want.
Even if you don't put somebody guard her, she's going to hit 3 out of 4 shots.
Exactly.
If you think about it.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
I can just imagine what the percentage was on the free throw line.
We got to take a break.
We got to take a break. Thank you. She's doing a great job. JR, can we hold on to you for a little bit longer?
Of course you can.
All right, so we're going to step away. You are listening to 4 Deep Sports Talk here on the news station, 1320 AM WARA, and online, all one word, 4deepsportstalk.com. I have my good friend J.R. Dinello. He's also the play-by-play broadcaster of CACC basketball. We'll be back with him and more right after this.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to 1320 AM 4 Deep Sports Talk. This is Catherine Conley, a.k.a. KC, with the rest of the team. And JR, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Don't turn that up so you won't lose them. Yep.
Oh.
Yep, you're good. You want to turn that up so you don't. Turn that one up there. There you go. So you can go into your commercial. All right, go ahead.
All right, so my question for you is, so is the CACC affiliate to the NCAA?
Say that again.
Is the CACC?
Are we affiliated with the NCAA? Is that
yes.
your question?
Yeah.
So yes, we are all member institutions within the NCAA. We're Division II members, and yes, we are one of 23 Division II athletic conferences across the United States that are Division II member conferences.
Very cool.
Okay, hey, what's going on, JR? It is Joe Des right now on the mic. I've not talked too much during this, but I wanted to mention to you, you mentioned that stat line a couple minutes ago, 48 points. I believe you said 12 rebounds and 11 assists for that girl?
11 steals, if you could believe it. It was rebounds and steals. Yeah.
Wow, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
That's insane. I was going to say that there was a stat line from Russell Westbrook during his MVP season that I kept calling back to that I was thinking of during that where he had 48 points, 11 assists, and 9 rebounds, and she basically got a better stat line than him during his MVP season. That's insane, that steal. That's
unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
That is actually just crazy. But So, JR, what I wanted to talk to you about is you obviously talked about the expansion that came under you when you were the athletic director, but you kind of short-sold yourself a little bit. You actually also had the expansion from 10 sports to 14 sports, 150 to 300 student athletes. That's just pretty insane to see that much expansion. So I wanted to ask you, under your time as AD, you also installed the Athletics Hall of Fame. What was the main goal in your mind? Was it more of just to help the athletics in the building, or was it more of to kind of like call back to the players who used to be there, who deserved a little recognition they didn't get over the years?
Well, I think there's a lot of both, and I think that it certainly started to properly honor our past. And, Felician Athletics is still relatively young. We're only in our 26th year of intercollegiate athletic competition this year, but we have a history, and we felt it, that very important that we pay homage to our history and to our past and create the Hall of Fame. I think it certainly is a great representation of who we are as an athletic program and as an institution. I think we've come a long way, but I also agree with the point that you're making, is that it did a lot for our athletic program well from a viability and from a visibility standpoint. I think when you start to do things like that, where you honor your past, you also demonstrate to your current student athletes what it means to be a Golden Falcon and what it means to put that uniform on, because those men and women who get honored as Hall of Fame inductees, they speak with a lot of pride about their time when they were a student athlete at Felician. And I think it's a great learning lesson for our current and future student athletes to listen to, how glowingly they speak about their time as a student athlete, what it meant to them. And I think our current men and women take heed of that. And I think they maybe not always appreciate everything, but I think they do appreciate things a little bit more because of the introduction of the Hall of Fame.
No, that was the exact answer I was looking for, because some schools will stress the future, obviously looking for how they can improve as they go on. They kind of forget the past and present sometimes. The present players want to be enshrined in the Hall of Fame, like you said, obviously. They're going to be working towards that. They have an actual goal to look forward to now. If they don't have that, they're just going to think their work's going on nothing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, everybody wants to win, or everybody should want to win a championship. I think, team success should always be, what you want to attain. And this year, as Dominic knows, we were very fortunate that our men's basketball team, we were victorious in the CACC tournament and represented the conference at the NCAA regional up in Bentley. And that was a great moment. It's only the second time that our men's basketball program has won the conference championship, and it was, 12 years ago when we last won it. So, student athletes, they need to understand and appreciate how special it is when they achieve those great moments, both individually and team-wise. And you're right, then they should have eyes on the prize, that if they have a really good career, it's very possible that they could be installed as a Hall of Fame member, whether it be individually or as part of the team that they played on that had a great success. I'm very blessed that I am an inductee already as part of a team that I coached. I also coached our women's soccer team many moons ago, and the 2000 version of our women's soccer program did extremely well. We were regular season conference champions. We lost in the conference tournament. We went all the way to the NAIA Region 10 final, losing to Green Mountain College in the final. But We had a really special year, and a couple of years ago, the Hall of Fame committee honored that team by installing them into the Hall of Fame. So it's a great source of pride for me as well, to be already in as a coach of that team.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that is.
Coach, my question to you is, a lot of us, I can't speak for everybody in the room here, but maybe my generation, we're kind of naive up here, because up here we have Boston College, we have UMass Dartmouth out of Amherst, we have Lowell up on the North Shore, we have couple small Division II, you know about Stonehill because they're in Division II. So if once this show gets done, we're going to send it out to like 35 different local access towns, and and it'll be on our Facebook page and our YouTube page. But a lot of people don't know the possibilities of playing or getting a full scholarship, playing for a great conference like the CACC. Like, all I think about is the movie Blindside, is when Robert Orr's stepbrother sent all these videos to all the big Division I colleges. How do you get noticed? I mean, if you think about it, as big as the country is, that's a lot of work. And you at Felician, in Bloomfield, in Jefferson University, in Caldwell, you can't see everybody. Like when I looked at the roster, I saw like a couple of guys from Mass, and I have no idea how they got noticed. They probably did their research and sent something else, to an athletic director. But the people that are listening are going to watch the show later during the week. What advice, or how should they go about trying to do that? I mean, land that Division II scholarship so they can get noticed. Do a tryout, or is that what they do? I don't know. I just thought you could educate us.
Well, I think the first thing, depending upon the sport that they play, I think today, and I say what I'm about to say, I say somewhat with remorse and regret as well. I grew up, I think, Dominic, I can safely say for you and I, we grew up in an era where high school sports, that was the pathway for you to get noticed as a student athlete to go to college if you were good enough, to get a scholarship. Today, while high school sports is still huge, and I'm sure it's immensely popular and huge in your part of Massachusetts like it is down here in New Jersey, but the reality is many student athletes get exposed in whatever sport that they're playing by some other vehicle, whether it be an AAU basketball team or a club softball team or baseball team. And I, like I said, I say that a little bit remorsefully because I think sometimes that hurts the high school sports experience with these kids playing on so many other teams that sometimes it takes away from the high school experience, and the teams that they play on for their town, or if they go to a Catholic high school or a non-public high school. But I mean, to answer your question, I think that they need to expose themselves to college coaches, whether it be through one of those club teams, or there are so many of these services out there that provide that exposure through, a software product or videos that get sent to coaches. That first connection that a student athlete and his or her family can make with a lot of coaches in a very broad brush is very important for that first touch. And then the coach will probably take it from there. He or she will, reach out, whether it be via phone or through an email, as a way to, come and see them play live or get more video and start the conversation. And now, at the Division II level, college coaches can begin talking to student athletes after, June 15th of their sophomore year in high school. So the recruiting process is really, really intense now, even at the Division II level. And I think it's also fair to say, and Dominic, you've experienced it now for quite a while, seeing, our conference play basketball, and even in the Northeast 10, many of these student athletes could play at a higher level. Many of them could play at a small Division I school. And in the state of New Jersey, we have quite a few small Division Is that we, even at Felician and others in our conference, compete with on a regular basis for student athletes. So the competition in the recruiting world is tremendous. But I do think that schools in our conference are looking globally for student athletes. We're not just looking in a very small circle, in terms of a 2 to 3 hour radius around our institution. I can tell you that I'm really lucky and excited. My golf team, I've signed 2 kids from Spain for next year.
Wow.
I know that there are colleges and universities in our conference that are getting kids from all over the country and all over the world in a variety of sports. And that's certainly the case at Felician as well. So I think student athletes, if they're interested in playing college sports, they need to expose themselves as early as they can, and play in programs in addition to their high school ones. I think, like I said, unfortunately, that is the best way to get yourself out there.
All right, Coach, you're almost halfway done with the drill, and we got one more half hour to drill. We still have you for the last half hour?
I got some coffee left. I'm hanging in there. You guys are doing good.
We're trying.
You guys are doing good.
I appreciate your time.
Doing good.
All right, so
you're the best, Dominic.
Thanks.
I don't know if these guys know. I don't know if these guys know how good you are with BTV. Do these young guys?
I don't know
how good you are with BTV. Do they know how good you are at BTV?
I don't know about that, but I don't know if they know the story about when I got kicked off the pregame show.
Oh, whoa.
When you kept calling Bloomingfield.
That's right. And what was it? Holy Family? Am I saying that right? Holy Name?
Holy Family's in our conference.
Yeah, I called him Holy Name.
Yeah.
So Dan Mara said, great guy, but I think we're done with the Dominic Damiano experiment. All right, we're going to step away. You are listening to 4 Deep Sports Talk here on the news station, 1320 AM WARA, and online, all one word. We have the privilege of having my good buddy J.R. Danello from the CACC and Felician College. We'll be back with him and more right after this. The scores I was going to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, here, you take the scores right here.
There you go.
All right, hello, everybody. Welcome back to 4 Deep Sports Talk. JR, are you still with us?
I sure am.
It's good to hear you again.
I know. I got to imagine my check is going to be really big for the amount of time that I'm on the air today.
Really? What's it worth for 60 minutes?
A lot of money being transferred on down to New Jersey.
Yeah, poor bad. Too bad Dan couldn't come through, but we won't talk bad about him that much. Because I'll see him.
Exactly.
And, He's a good guy.
When are you going to see
He's a
Dan?
great guy.
Next year when I go down to the conference again. Where is the conference tournament again this year? Is it Caldwell again? I mean, next year?
It hasn't been
Decided.
It hasn't been decided yet. What the athletic directors will do in their June meeting is they will select the tournament sites for all the conference championships for next academic year, and there's a bid process. So that'll be the way that goes down. We'll know probably by the first weekend in June. We'll know where all the conference tournaments are.
Oh, nice. All right, you ready, young man? Do you have a question for him?
My other one's for Dan.
That's all right. What's he had a question for Dan, but maybe we can wing that. Maybe we can wing this into for JR. What's your question? And we'll just change to English. So, what was your question for Dan?
It was.
Give them both. Give them that one there. The both. Did you read that one yet?
Yeah, I did. That was the one I started with.
All right, try that one with Dan. We'll just swing it for JR.
Okay, so so this was going to be one of my questions for Dan, and with his coaching style, he noticed that basketball players didn't like playing defense, and I was curious to know, like, when it first dawned onto him that the players didn't enjoy doing that.
Yeah, because you're a former coach. How do you look at that question?
I think that it's a somewhat of a lost art to really have someone that prides themselves in playing defense, but I don't know if any of you watched the women's Final Four last night, but that UConn Stanford game, which was the second game last night, there was a lot of great defense that was being played, and even the regional final on the men's side, that Houston-Villanova men's final, I mean, Houston played tremendous defense against Villanova. If Houston could have shot the ball with any sort of consistency, they would have beaten Villanova because they just stymied them all night. I mean, I think it's basketball has changed an awful lot. It's a game that's predicated so much today off the bounce, so much off of ball screens. Obviously, the three-point shot has changed the game so much, and I think today you defend from the outside down, where in Dominic's era back in the 1920s, you guarded from the, you guarded from the basket out, because you were so afraid of big guys getting the ball near the basket. Now you're more afraid of the player shooting from the three-point line and getting that extra point. So the game has changed so much defensively as well as offensively. You have to run people off the three-point line. You have to defend the three-point line so much. You have to defend ball screens so much more today than you did 20 years ago. And it takes coaches a lot of time to get buy-in from their student athletes, from their players, to buy in to playing defense. And when you get that, that's when you have something special. And I think that's why, quite honestly, Villanova has been so successful this year on the men's side. I think if you watch UConn women, I think that's why they are so successful this year, is the way that they've played defense. Because obviously everybody's all excited, to see three balls flying and slam dunks and all that. But, still defense wins championships. That's that old adage that is still very true today.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, JR, I just had to hop in real quick here. This is Jodez. You mentioned you're not sure if any of us had watched that Stanford versus UConn girls basketball game. I have a funny story. Last night, me and about 10 of my friends packed the Buffalo Wild Wings and watched that exact game. For the first time I ever actually watched women's basketball was that game. It was a hilarious thing.
Really?
Yeah, shocking.
Did you watch the game before it?
Was that the Louisville one?
Watch the South Carolina Louisville.
Yeah, I did watch that one.
So that girl from South Carolina is tremendous, Aaliyah Boston. she is, I don't know the exact number, but it's like 37 consecutive double-double games that she's had, and that she was, again, terrific last night. South Carolina is extremely good.
Yes, they are.
Very well coached. And, UConn, who's having an unbelievable Cinderella-type season, and it's kind of an oxymoron to say that about UConn, that they're like underdogs in women's basketball, because they've been the gold standard in women's basketball for forever. This is Gino's 22nd Final Four appearance, 14th in a row. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. But there was an interesting stat, Joe, if you listened to it last night. 27 years ago, UConn won its first women's national championship. Where was it played? It was played in Minnesota. Where's the Final Four for women being played this year? Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
In that Final Four, who did UConn beat in the semifinals? Stanford. Who did they beat last night? They beat Stanford last night. The only difference is in the final, UConn in 1997, they beat Tennessee with Pat Summitt in the final. Tomorrow night they're going to play South Carolina, but eerie similarities for the Huskies.
That is.
But obviously I speak passionately about women's basketball. I coached it for a long time, and I think that the women's game has come so far, even as it relates to the Final Four. You look in the stands last night; it's packed in an NBA arena. Look at yourself, Joe. How old are you?
I'm 18.
You're 18. A bunch of your buddies got together to watch women's basketball last night.
No, I know.
That's crazy when you think about it, right?
Yeah, no, we would not be having that.
But that's how far women's basketball has come. I mean, that's a great statement for for an 18-year-old and his friends to make a night out of specifically watching a sporting event and have it be women's basketball. I mean, I think that speaks volumes.
No, women's sports have come so far.
For how far it's come.
Yeah, it really has, because you really could not. Sometimes you couldn't even find those games broadcasted in like in sports restaurants.
Right.
But
That I've heard. I think they probably have more ratings than men's sports these days.
Sometimes in some sports they do. In some sport, I mean, obviously, the women's soccer, in the United States, the national team has, with all the success that they've had, they've had a tremendous following, and they've had more success, quite frankly, than the men's national team, obviously, in the sport of soccer. But, another piece of information or data to note, this is the 50th anniversary of Title IX this year, the provision, the government provision to, for equality for female student athletes, as well as male student athletes. And so it's a special time for women's sports. And I think last night it was clearly on display how far women's basketball has come. Two great Final Four games. And it leads into perfectly to tonight, to Duke, Carolina, and Kansas, Villanova. I think the storylines, obviously, here in New Jersey, we were, excited to see St. Peter's, a small Division I school, go on a great ride to make it all the way to the Elite Eight before losing to North Carolina in the final. But it sets up such a great matchup. Duke and North Carolina, Coach K's last year, all those great storylines. If you're a college basketball fan, today is a really, really fun day.
Yeah, they really couldn't have written a better story for Coach K's last season. The fact he's made it to the Final Four already, he might be able to make it to the national championship. That's pretty crazy. No one really expected that before the playoffs.
Yeah. Right.
I got one final question for you, JR. You've heard of this quote, defense wins games. Do you think the players have that same mindset?
No, I don't. I hate to say that, but I don't. I think that's why coaches get the big bucks, because they have to convince their players that defense wins championships. I don't think players today value playing defense the way they once did. Some do, not all. And I think not most, to be fair. And I think it's those coaches who are able to get that buy-in from a defensive standpoint that separate good teams from great teams. I think it's easy to want to get in the gym with a ball and really get proficient in your offensive game. But it's hard by yourself to become a good defensive player. You know, I mean, yeah, you could do defensive slides and you can become fit, but the only way that you can become a better defensive player is to play the game and to be in drills with other players, where offensively you can really work on your game alone. So it requires a lot of diligence, a lot of hard work, and I don't think that that's something that kids today just want to be a great defensive player.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm happy you mentioned the differences in developing offense versus defense, because even in professional leagues, you see players come in as mainly defensive or offensive guys a lot of the time. The defensive guys lately have been the ones who have actually gotten a lot better. Or main example is Kawhi Leonard. He came in as a main defensive guy. He's now one of the best offensive players in the league.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Giannis Antetokounmpo won Defensive Player of the Year, just won MVP. Continuing to move on like that is just pretty crazy. And Robert Covington last night, he has been known for his defense. 11 threes last night, 41 points, career high, first time ever.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Clippers defeated the Bucks, the reigning champions.
Imagine that. Jay, I wanted to thank you.
Dominic, who is this kid? He's pretty good. He threw out a lot of good stats right there.
Well, I tell him to do his homework. I tell them to do their homework, Coach.
That's pretty good. That's pretty
Right?
good.
Actually, they all do good, don't they?
Yeah, very good. Joe, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Hoping to get into broadcasting like this, so either basically radio or announcing sports, probably.
Yeah. So what I like I told you before, Luce was one of my interns, and we've had several people that moved on. One kid's calling the baseball games for Boston College. One other girl, she's working for Nesson and Boston Comcast. So I'm just a big believer, and I don't know if I told you this before, Jad. Like repetition, the more he gets in here, the more he'll learn, the more he'll get comfortable being a radio journalist. And one of the great things is they learn how to run the audio board and take calls and set the volumes and do their homework
too, like camera work and hosting.
Yeah,
So much.
Yeah.
And we got our award ceremony coming up. We're doing our third annual award ceremony here in southeastern Mass at the end of April, and Joe's going to be one of the other sports writers, interviewing the winners, because I'm a big believer is like I can't see myself calling all the 4 nominees. So we did like a Twitter poll. Long story short, did a Twitter poll, and then we voted. Not just the people in this room, but like 4 other sports writers that I know, in our area, write for different papers, and so that's how we came up with our winners. So I'd rather have the winners show up than the runner-up show up and not have their name called. I don't like that at all. I'm not a big participation trophy type of person. So
Right.
he gets all the interns get a piece of that. How we do it, because we also do live streams. We try to do like the local youth, the AAU basketball if we can, Little League baseball, and we just try to get our product out there.
That's great. Well, I can tell you guys just quickly, I'm a broadcasting school graduate. So I really thought that this was going to be my path. And I got into coaching high school sports, and, the rest is kind of history. I went to Felician as an assistant coach for 2 sports. And, I became the head coach for women's basketball and women's soccer, and then became an assistant AD, and then finally became the athletic director. So this was clearly not my path. My path was going to be what you guys are doing. So for me to be doing the broadcasts for the basketball tournament have been great, because it's kind of started my second career a little bit. Now I do a lot of freelance broadcasting, PA work, and I love it. I love that aspect of it, and I think I'm okay at it. I've been blessed that the conference has allowed me to continue to do it for a lot of years, and I did the sideline reporting at the East Regional at Bentley that BTV produced. So it was great to be working with those guys again, with Jeff and the boys. So it's a lot of fun, and I mean, I think my best advice to give all of you is that there are so many outlets now for you to work on your craft that you just have to take them all. When there's an opportunity, like Dominic said, to go do a high school game, go do it. There's an opportunity to go do a Little League game, go do it. Because the reality is you will get better at this, just like anything else, but you will get better at this the more times that you do it. And listening to you guys, I mean, this is a very professional
Thank you.
Fourth interview. You guys are well on your way to being, really, really good at this.
Yeah, I don't know about me, but I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna let everybody file through and see who my next intern's gonna be, and and see what happens there. Hey, go talk to the old guy. He wants to put you on the radio.
Yeah.
JR, thank you. It was great to talk to you.
Thank you, JR.
Thanks, JR.
Great interview.
It's my pleasure. Happy to do it if I can ever help any of you out. Dominic has my information. Please always feel free. Happy to come on and do it again. And if there's ever a time that one of you need a color man for something, let me know. I'll be happy to come up and work with you.
Sounds
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah, thank you, Jared. That's awesome.
All right, take care, my friend. Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, goodbye.
Bye-bye now.
All right, that was J.R. Danello, Felician Athletic ex-director and play-by-play for the CACC. We'll step away. We're taking our last break. You are listening to 4 Deep Sports Talk on the news station, where it's all about community. We'll be back with more right after this.
Can I read this?
Yep.
Okay, one, sure.
Hey, welcome back. You are listening to 4 Deep Sports Talk here on the news station, 1320 AM WARA. We are live online at 4deepsportstalk.com. And we have a caller on the line. Caller, you're still there. I apologize.
Yeah, you should be sorry.
Oh,
I wonder who this is.
You know, my back's killing me, and you're making me laugh. This isn't cool. Oh, my God. How are you, caller? What's on your mind?
I'm doing great. So I was listening on the radio earlier. It's great stuff. Is Noreen still in studio?
Noreen.
Who's Noreen?
Friend of ours. Oh. No, she's not in studio.
Oh, I know you guys were taking questions earlier for her and her dance students. I wanted to
No, we're not. We're not talking. Yeah, Noreen from Hanover Dance Studio. Yeah. No, sorry, we're not talking. We're not taking ballet questions right now, or dance, or jazz, or R&B. Do you have another? Do you have another question, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. So is this award show you're having? Is this open to the general public?
It is. It most definitely is.
And so, like, how much do they have to pay to show up?
They don't have to pay anything. They can just show up and watch these fine recipients receive their plaque.
So they can do that for free?
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
And if they'd like to have dinner, they would have to buy dinner, of course, and a couple of drinks.
Yeah, of course. Dinner on Dom?
Negative.
Nope. Good try, though. Good try. So I'm going to be hosting these awards. Are you going to be there?
I might stop by.
Yeah, that would be great.
I think he might know one of the sports writers. Yeah, that's not happening. Not right now. That's funny. Well, caller, I just want to let you know that we have an award for you. You are the second best caller in 4 Deep Sports Talk history.
Who was the first?
Everybody else.
Oh, that just ruined my day.
I'm sorry, caller. I'll try to make it up to you. If you see Tom Joyce, wish him a happy birthday. And that's when
Is it his
Oh, happy
Tommy's
birthday, Tom.
birthday was
Wow,
yesterday.
well, happy birthday.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, boy. Yep. So now you get recognized locally, even nationally, because I bet you JR is still listening in New Jersey.
Yeah, that's true.
That's right.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, JR is It's a good conference. He's one of the guys I see all the time down there when I'm down there.
Okay.
Great guy. I was hoping that the commissioner was going to call in, but I don't know what his plans.
Valenzola?
Valenzola, yeah, exactly. All right, caller, thank you. We're just going to run down our scores, and we're going to promote the award ceremony. We thank you for your time again.
Well, happy to do it. Have a good day.
You too. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah, so we're actually going to be changing it up on the songs.
That's fine.
Ooh, I like
All right, so
that.
while you set that up, let me just go through. First of all, I'm going to go through the nominees again and the winners of the 3rd annual 4 Deep Sports Talk Boys and Girls Basketball and Player and Coach of the Year. I hope I said that right.
You want me to turn on the music?
You can do that, young lady. First of all, I want to thank Greg Dudak from the Brockton Enterprise and the Patriot Ledger, Tom Joyce from the New Boston Post and the Quincy Sun, Nate Rollins from the Whitman-Hanson Express, and of course Nate and Tom help us out all the time here as well. Mark Vasconcelos from the Enterprise, and she's getting the music fired up. With that being said,
Love it.
here are the boys nominees, followed by the winner. And boys basketball was Trent Santos from Taunton High. Can you turn them down a little bit?
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Mike Lognan from Boston College High. Cameron Montero from Brockton High School. Deontay Quinn, I hope I'm pronouncing his first name right, from North Quincy. And the boys basketball player was Mike Lognan from Boston College High. Boys Coach of the Year nominees were Andrew McDonald from East Bridgewater, Christian McDonald, from Norwood High School, Matthew Vincenza from Pembroke. We actually had him on the show when we promoted his program.
Was great. Yep.
William Lognan from Boston College, that's Mike's father. Mm-hmm. And it was, congratulations, the first ever Christian McDonald, who won from Norwood, won the Boys Basketball Coach of the Year. Girls Basketball Coaches of the Year, Mike Costa from Whitman-Hanson, Matthew Ramponi from North Quincy. Matthew was actually an intern coach. Mm-hmm. He did a great job with that team. Diana Newcomb from Rockland High School and Stephen Moore from East Bridgewater. And again, congratulations to Mike Coster from Whitman Hanson. Girls Player of the Year, Ogla Glumley from North Quincy, Julia Ellie from Rockland, Caroline Pepper from Oliver Ames, Megan Olbrey from Norwood. And again, congratulations to Caroline Pepper from Oliver Ames. And those are, again, I just thought I'd throw them out there. The award ceremony is April 23rd at Audrey's Restaurant in East Bridgewater, 6 p.m. We're hoping to try to get some radio coverage as far as doing the show live on the radio. It all depends on what we have going on here at WARA. And I want to let everybody listening that it's also WARA's privilege and honor for us to mention these nominees and winners as much as it is ours. Yeah. And then we're just going to go over the state champs again.
Yeah.
And here is the man, Joe Diz.
Okay, for girls hockey Division I state finals, Austin Prep ended up defeating Arlington 4-1, and then Division II state finals is an overtime thriller between Algonquin and Canton, with Algonquin taking it away 2-1. Boys hockey Division I state finals is St. John's Prep versus Savarian Bros, which ended up 6-2 in St. John's favor. Then for Division II state finals, Tewksbury defeated Canton 3-1. Division III state finals continuing on for boys hockey was Hanover defeating Marlborough 5-3, and Division IV state finals, Sandwich had another overtime thriller, lasting 2 overtimes this time, 3-2 over Watertown.
Nope. All right, so with that, we got to get out of here. It's been over now. Turn the other volume up. Turn that up all the way. For everybody at 4 Deep Sports Talk, I don't mean to cut us short. We hope you enjoyed this hour of 4 Deep Sports Talk, as we have the privilege of talking with J.R. Danello from the CACC. We will catch you next time. Everyone have a fantastic weekend.